Welcome to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I'm your host, Kevvy. This week on the show is stand-up comedian Graham Clark. Thanks for coming, Graham.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Startle everybody.
No problems.
It was really quiet for a second, and I broke the silence.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the different things sometimes we see out there. We actually saw some people changing in those shrubs last week. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's
wow.
right.
That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. There were some cops out there fighting with some people in their cars during that pipeline thing that was happening.
Oh, that was all. Yeah, that would have been right down here.
That was here. We were doing a podcast with Simon King, and we just incorporated it into the episode. And he said it was the sounds of a bird or something like that. So it's good to have people who are good at improv on the episode. Did you ever do improv?
I did a little when I was in high school.
Okay.
I joined class thing, and they performed a couple times at a theater.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Because I always loved stand-up.
Yeah, even then.
Yeah, as a kid, I was like I loved stand-up, and then I thought maybe you do improv and kind of work your way into stand-up or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I felt like with the particular group I was with, I was like, I don't need you guys. I can do this on my own.
You don't need that. Aaron Reed was just talking about how it's like he loves stand-up because he doesn't need to rely on a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I started learning to produce music so I wouldn't have to rely on flaky bandmates.
Yeah. Smart. Yeah. Like getting a group of people together to do anything is like a wild.
It's hard to get people to do anything, even if it's just on their phone committing to something.
Yeah.
It's like it's made it the easier it is, the lazier people are with committing to things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're a very solid plan maker.
I try to be.
You are incredible.
Yeah.
Every time I invite you to something, you come to it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a great gift of a friend you are.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. This is the Graham Clark compliment hour.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it where I can get it.
What was the first stand-up you saw that you loved that made you want to do it?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the first stand-up I saw was probably I would have been a kid, and I probably didn't even see it. It was probably Steve Martin record.
Okay, yeah.
And I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
And he was so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, for a kid to connect with an adult, they have to be pretty, likable
and charismatic.
Weird
Yeah.
And, so I was just, heard his album.
Yeah.
My dad had it.
That's
and,
cool.
I think that was the first kind of stand-up where I was like, oh, this is great. Like, everything about this is great.
Yeah.
And I also grew up, when there was a ton of stand-up on TV.
Okay.
There was, A&E's Evening at the Improv.
Yeah.
And there was, a full 2-hour block of stand-up on TV every day.
Yeah. I remember that, too. And that was, that you live in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So was there... did you start doing it pretty young, or did you just kind of absorb a lot of it and then?
Yeah, I did it as a teenager.
Okay.
A bit when I was the very first time I did it, I think I was 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I did it at a talent competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote 5 minutes of original
Wow.
material, and
Were you super nervous?
yeah, but I would just always liked. I liked being on stage.
Yeah.
I liked writing, telling jokes.
Yeah.
And it was the first crowd I played to was probably there's probably 300, 400
Holy
people
shit.
there. So
Wow.
yeah, it was definitely and I loved it. I lost the competition, but I loved
Wow.
the doing it. And then, but you couldn't get into bars and stuff. As a teenager, and that's where all the open mics were happening.
Yeah.
So once I got a fake ID, I did some. Yeah.
That's the most impressive reason for getting a fake ID. So I could start working. Join the workforce. I'm 16. I work at Earl's now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You just loved it so much.
Yeah, and and then I did it a bit when I was a teenager, 16 and 17, and then I was like, I gotta go to school. I gotta go get an education or something.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of sad people around open mics, and I knew that even as a teenager. I was
Yeah.
like, these are sad
Yeah.
folks. Not all of them, but It's like if you go to an open mic now, you'll see some sad.
Well, it's not very supportive. It's a lot of open mics I've been to. I don't know if you've been to any. Alexi, it's great because Alexi's so new to the comedy scene.
Okay.
That I'm seeing her see things for the first time a lot.
Yeah.
And but a lot of open mics is like, basically you go and you sign up so you can do 5 or 7 minutes, but the crowd is just other comics.
Yeah.
So it's not a very supportive feeling, and then nobody often is laughing at each other's jokes.
Yeah. And it's anybody can sign up.
Yeah.
So you get people who are very, gifted, good comedians, all the way to just random.
A guy who has a story that he thinks is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So you get like a wide swath of people at the open mics.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I went to like an amateur hour once at Yuck Yucks, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like exactly like an open mic thing. It was just like amateur.
Open mic's like
people.
one level down. Like, because at amateur night, like, you would have to go to the comedy club and sign up, and somebody along the way would have to say
Yes or no.
yes or no.
Yeah.
But open mic is anybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's so funny because early on into coming to things like that, if someone was bombing, it would make me want to crawl out of my skin.
Yeah.
And now I'm impervious to it. It's just part of the process. But
Yeah.
I brought a friend of mine who's a musician with me to Sevens once. It was this open mic, and it was just bomb after bomb, and he was like, go, like physically so uncomfortable with what was happening.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lesson that I learned a couple years into comedy, is that the audience really wants you to do well.
Yeah.
Like, they're not there to see you do badly. And so everything you try, they hope that it's good.
Yeah.
And I kind of never thought that. I always thought, like, the audience would take any opportunity to kind of, like, cut you down or whatever. But that's not true at all.
Yeah. They feel as awkward as you if it's not going the way you both want, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's funny though because people would argue that there isn't such a thing as a bad crowd, but I kind of disagree with that just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Even this week at JFL, where it's like sometimes it's just an awkward vibe and nobody in the crowd wants to stand out. Like I went and saw Donnell Rawlings.
Oh, yeah.
And he's from Chappelle's Show and he's so loud and bombastic, but the crowd was being weird. Like he was like, I watched the Oscars last week. You guys watch the Oscars? Silence. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You watched the Oscars. I know you did.
That's so weird.
Why are you being weird? And then, and it's like you kind of have to address that as the performer to make
Totally.
them relax. It seems like.
And did he?
Yeah,
Good.
He called them weirdos, and they kind of
yeah.
laughed at that. But not everyone can get away with everything too.
That's true.
That's one thing I love about your stand-up is that there's never a victim in your material.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, if there is, they had it coming.
Like my parents and my teachers. Yeah, I don't. I can't think of a victim in any of your bits besides 7-Eleven.
Yeah, exactly. I think I like to talk a lot about corporations.
Yeah,
and they're an easy target.
Yeah.
And I like I feel like I'm always the stupid one in the joke. Like I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Like even if somebody was doing something stupid around me, I end up feeling like in the telling of it that I was the stupid one.
Oh, that's interesting. But it's funny though because Graham Clark Compliment Hour, you're maybe the kindest person I know.
Oh, get out.
And
that's really nice to hear.
very supportive. But I've seen you dislike an audience one time, and it was so funny to see that too. Like it was, I remember it was when I was recording you.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in the crowd, and you were like, you know what? I don't like you. And that's about as far as it goes for him being negative at all.
Oh, I love it.
And he did deserve it, so I guess you're right.
Yeah, it's weird. Like sometimes the crowd is just weird. Like they're, and you have to sometimes remind them that they're a crowd and they're at a show, and now you need to get in the spirit of it. Yeah. And usually people do, but sometimes they forget, like sometimes like you're sitting in a dark part of the room and you don't think anybody can see you, so you don't act like you're not as amped as if you're at a concert or something.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you just got to tell them like you're
here to have fun.
Yeah.
With us.
Yeah, time to have fun.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It's so uphill. Like I like playing in a band. If the crowd's being weird, we can just go into another song.
What is it like though when you play in a band and because there's so much more of people kind of standing around the fringe of the room, talking.
Yeah.
What is like? When do you feel like as a band, like okay, we're connecting with this audience?
There's the variations are interesting because there's different levels to it, and also I've realized that just because they're not like moshing or something doesn't mean they're not really into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes people's way of enjoying it is not looking at you, but they're still listening and they're still enjoying it.
Right.
And whatever. I guess the better way to explain it is what a bad show feels like.
Yeah.
Like it was funny. My band got booked for this big North American tour, and for some reason one of the shows was in, is it called Charlottetown? It's like Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, Charlottetown.
And we literally played at a fish and chip kind of restaurant.
Oh wow.
And there were tons of people there, but it's like they couldn't hear what I was saying besides singing, and they had they're just so drunk that I needn't have bothered.
Right. Yeah.
And we got paid well and everything, and I was literally like I used to be pretty confrontational on stage, like what you were saying about how you assumed the crowd was not on your side.
Yeah.
I felt like it was us versus whatever audience we were playing.
Yeah.
And so I started kind of roasting them, and they couldn't even hear me.
Oh my God.
Oh man, all those good roasts went to waste.
What a waste. My A material. But there's different. I think my favorite things to play are festivals, which I think is best for bands if it's like you don't have to convince them to have fun. They're definitely there to have fun.
Yeah, right.
And but have you ever, as a comedian, done like an outdoor festival?
Yeah.
Seems tough.
It's tough, and it's not like the best scenario at an outdoor festival was where we did a show in a tent.
Yeah.
And so at least you had the focus of the people, but outdoors, like I will never do an outdoor show again.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No, it's just not right.
It isn't
it's
right.
It's just not meant for what you're doing, so I just won't do it.
And also, a lot of times, those situations, the crowd's like confused that there's now a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's like? It was funny. I saw Ivan Decker. I went with him when he played Pemberton, that outdoor festival.
Yeah.
And right at the moment where he was going to do his punchline, a train went by. Into wait.
No.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the thing is, you want the laugh. Like that's why all comedy clubs have low ceilings because if it's high ceiling or outdoors, the laughs just vanish. They don't go forward to where you are.
Yeah.
And so outdoors, it's just like
I
mean, when you're starting a comedy, you say yes to everything.
Yeah.
So I did outdoor shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you opened for bands?
I did open for a band once at a bar, like at somewhere in Kits.
Okay.
And it went so badly that I was like, I don't think I'll do this again. Yeah.
That's uphill too, because they're not expecting that, I guess.
No, and it's like
they're all standing also.
Yeah, they're all standing, and everybody's still ordering drinks because the band hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've been an opening band at some point.
Yeah.
You're playing the impossible game. Like nobody cares. Nobody's with opening act who.
Try playing a fish and chips restaurant.
Yeah, jeez. But but those gigs, like you keep them somewhere in your brain.
Yeah.
And then the nicer gigs that come along.
Oh man, appreciate it so much.
Yeah, totally.
Do you think the cushiest, not cushiest, but kind of the other side of the spectrum from those kind of shows is when you open for Dave Chappelle on those dates?
Even that was like, when you're opening for somebody that's that people have paid money to see, you're the last thing standing in the way of them enjoying the thing they paid to see. So they're not bad crowds, but they don't want to see you. You know what I mean? So you're swimming upstream the whole time. If you get some laughs, great. But the opening act is always just kind of thrown to the wolves a bit.
How long did you do on those shows?
I think I did probably like 20, you know, just to warm up the crowd. And he had just kind of come out of semi-retirement. So people were like rabid.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like people, I bet you now if you went to Dave Chappelle's show, they'd be a lot more sedate. And because this felt like maybe this was the only time you were ever going to be able to see him. Because he had like retired for so long, and then he was doing these dates out of nowhere. And so people were crazy. Like the audience was crazy, but they calmed down after about 5 minutes or so, and then then I had 15 minutes. And then you have to amp them back up again for the for the headliner. Not that that's hard with Dave Chappelle, 'cause, they're there for him.
Wow, that's so much pressure.
It is kind of, especially if you're new. Like you end up getting thrown onto a lot of shows as a new comic, as an opener.
Right.
Because you only have 10 minutes or whatever.
Okay.
And so like the headliner will do fine, because like I say, people are there to see the headliner. But it's an uphill. It's an uphill struggle.
I can't think of a tougher person to open for, actually.
Like I think outside of a band, I don't think.
Like I think that would be harder than opening for Seinfeld. Because at least Seinfeld fans, a lot of them aren't just pop culture people, they're stand-up comedy fans. So they understand the format at least. Where Chappelle was like a cultural phenomenon in a way. It was, him coming back to stand-up was, like if, I don't know what the closest comparison in music would be. Like who's somebody who's retired and then just came back all of a sudden?
Like, is there somebody? It's like if Dr. Dre came back.
For sure.
If Dr. Dre came back and just suddenly dropped an album and was going on tour. Like people would lose their mind.
Or the Tupac Hologram.
If the Tupac Hologram went on tour. That's you.
She made that her bio a little while ago. We've talked about that hologram ad nauseum.
Cool.
I can't think of a better hologram.
Well, there was what's his name from the Black Eyed Peas did he was a hologram on CNN.
Will.i.am?
Yeah, Will.i.am.
Cool. Why'd he do that?
For the
just
election.
To be cool. Oh, okay.
It was for the election. None of it made sense. It was during the election. It was on CNN. Will.i.am was there as a hologram.
Also, why him?
Why
He's
him?
a huge political figure. Everyone trusts the way he votes. That is weird whenever there's a political, thing like that, and then they ask celebrities what they think. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I think some people must care because they always ask.
Well, that they do, but why do they care? I think probably most actors are dumber than the average voter.
Shots fired.
To all actors. I'm looking at you, Harrison Ford. Just kidding. He's probably pretty smart.
I think it's weird that because I've only just recently kind of thought this, that there are actors who started out as child actors, and now they're still in the business. They're adults, which means that they probably got no formal education because they started as a 12 or 11-year-old kid. So, where did they, I'm sure they had a tutor or whatever, but it's these multi-millionaires that don't even have a high school diploma. It's fascinating.
And a lot of times their parents take their money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That happened to... I think you're pretty much doomed if you're a successful child actor to a certain point.
Yeah.
The best case scenario is Macaulay Culkin, where at a certain point he just cut off his whole family and moved to France, and now he just seems like a leisurely gentleman. It's he's doing pretty good, actually. He didn't die. He can hold a conversation. He's pretty friendly. He has a Velvet Underground Pizza tribute band.
That's right.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, and he like, that's the weird thing too, is like usually what makes you look cute as a little kid doesn't necessarily translate to an adult face. So like Haley Joel Osment was super adorable as a kid, but as an adult he just doesn't, like, it's not that he doesn't look right, but you remember him
totally
as a kid and how adorable those features were on
shocking.
a kid.
Yeah.
When you see him as an adult, you're like, what?
I'm trying to think of who else was able to. It is like almost you have to recover from being a child star.
I think Natalie Portman she did the best of anybody, because she like was the child star. Then she went to Harvard, got her degree. Came back to acting.
She did the old Rivers Cuomo move.
Elijah
Wood did pretty good.
Yeah, he seems like and same with Daniel Radcliffe. He seems like pretty level, and he's doing his
Rupert Grint as well.
I don't know about Rupert Grint. I don't know what's happened to
Who's
Rupert
that?
Grint.
He's Ron.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a Potterhead.
I just saw him again in The Servant. The new, like, Apple series, and he's so good. So
he's still at it. He's still
he's transitioned into being Ed Sheeran now.
He's broken the typecast.
He's successful in a different field now. Sorry, what were you saying? What is he doing now?
Oh no, he's just in like an Apple series, and he like
good.
doesn't remind me of Ron anymore. So I think he's done.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Job. Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
If you can switch how the public sees you, that's so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still yet to see that Tom Clancy series that stars Jim from The Office as an action guy. I can't imagine that.
I know, right?
And he also directed stuff.
Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was good.
Yeah, so you're able to see him as a director.
I still saw him as Jim, I think.
Yeah.
Quirky guy. Did you... I know that you worked at Black Dog Video.
Yeah.
We have a segment where we discuss our worst day job stories.
Oh, sure.
But I feel like the general clientele of people that would come in there would be probably pretty polite.
Yeah. Everybody that came into Black Dog... it was kind of in this weird switchover where like Netflix was happening, but not in full swing. You know what I mean? So like people were still like downloading movies and like renting movies from iTunes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like a weird time. So the people who came into Black Dog were like really, really big movie fans.
Yeah.
Who couldn't find the thing they were looking for anywhere else.
And they were like me, probably in like special features and Criterion editions and stuff like that.
Yeah. So they were there, like they knew exactly what they wanted to see. Yeah. Because, and they had exhausted every other kind of resource. So they were like really big movie fans.
It's funny. I remember the reason I knew about Black Dog is because I used to work at HMV and I wanted to order Battle Royale, and I couldn't through HMV, so I had to go to Black Dog to do it.
Really?
And I had to wait 3 months for it to come.
Wow.
I was one of those
worth it?
dorks. Yeah, I love Battle Royale. Have you ever seen it?
I don't think I have.
It's kind of like people say that, what's that Jennifer Lawrence movie where you go on the island and you have to survive?
The Mockingjay, Hunger Games,
Mocking Boys. Battle Royale's the original version of that. So it was is like in Japan, and there's a population issue, and so they take whole schools of teenagers and put them on an island, and they each get a bag with a mystery object in it, and it could be a weapon or it could be like an apple. And then you have 3 days, and you're all wearing these collars, and if at 3 days there's more than one person alive, all the collars explode. So you have to kill everybody else. And so Hunger Games is like the less mean version of Battle Royale.
And what is this, like from the 90s? Or?
2000s, and also one of the main characters was the actress who played Go-Go in Kill Bill. So that's where she came from.
Oh, okay.
And she essentially played Go-Go in Battle Royale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's where Tarantino saw her and cast her. Yeah.
And so you had to go to Black Dog to see Battle Royale.
To purchase it. So I had to go. This is when I used to live in Langley, too. So I had to take the bus and the SkyTrain to Main Street, and then, commercial, and then go in there and sheepishly ask if you could do it, and then prepay for it, and it was $90. It was expensive. And then wait 6 months for it.
Oh, my God.
That's wild.
Bated breath.
But you literally couldn't find it anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that video stores still have.
Yeah.
Because Netflix, or whatever streaming platform, doesn't have all the things you want to see.
And I still have Blu-rays and stuff, and I still prefer it.
Yeah.
The picture quality and sound quality is just way better.
And I miss special features.
Love special features.
Yeah. So it's weird. You kind of assumed that they would go away completely, but I don't think they ever will.
Do you think I just watched this documentary on minimalism, and I feel like I can embrace that kind of thing to a point, but I still am kind of a collector of things.
Yeah.
Are you like that?
You know what? I have collected a lot of things over the years, but I feel like I've moved so many times.
Oh yeah, that's a pain.
I think if you stayed in a place for a decade, you could really accrue
definitely
quite a collection of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you have to move it every couple of years, you start to thin the herd pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I have left that are I have old comedy records.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But I never listened to them, so I don't even know if I'm going to hold on to those anymore, you know?
Well, you could probably get rid of the Cosby ones.
I kind of did. And if you go to the thrift store, there's no end of those Cosby records now.
Yeah.
And his books and stuff.
Yeah.
Every time I go to a thrift shop, I can guarantee that I will find a Cosby record or
Yeah.
Oh, no
it was a wholesale dump. Everybody's just got rid of those.
I wonder why people don't want those anymore.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to the news. So, yeah. I also liked, there are those artists that it's no insult to them, but you will just find their records and stuff in thrift shops.
Yeah.
Like Primus. It's one of those bands.
I've never seen Primus in a thrift shop.
I've seen a lot of, back when there was used CD stores, there was always a lot of Primus.
I feel like there's always if I'm going through records, there's always Nana Muscuri.
Okay.
And there's always a lot of Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
And but best ofs.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this group presents. The best of whatever.
Yep.
But the old CD stores. That really. Yeah. I remember there used to be one that I would frequent on Granville Street.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
It was ABC Used Emporium.
Yeah.
And it was also a jewelry store.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is it still there?
No, now it's a Burger King or something.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was definitely that was the place you would go to get a used DVD or CD or whatever.
Do you remember your first concert?
First concert that I paid for, or first concert that I just went to as a kid?
Let's do both.
First concert that I paid for, I think, was Smashing Pumpkins.
Sick.
Yeah.
Do you remember who opened?
No, I don't.
I wonder what year it was.
It was, what year was it? 95?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were great.
I believe it.
Yeah, they were great, and it was Billy Corgan was, before he'd gone completely insane. You know?
Yeah.
He was because now he's insane, right?
Well, he's super into old analog synths, and he'll do 10-hour-long sessions where it's just him unplugging and plugging them in and doing even his hardcore fans are this is boring.
Yeah, he bought a wrestling league.
Yeah, he loves sports. He loves specifically Chicago sports.
Really?
So he'll be at anything. It's weird. I find it interesting when musicians that are kind of gothy are really into hockey or something.
Yeah.
The Al Jorgensen, the guy from Ministry, he's the biggest Chicago Blackhawks fan there is, and he's had season tickets for 20 years, and it's behind the penalty box of the opposing team, so he can talk trash to them.
No
Really?
way.
Yeah, those two guys are no. Billy Corgan's really good friends with Dennis Rodman and stuff.
That tracks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that would have been when, what was that record? Tonight is the greatest. That one, probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know who would have been opening. It might have been Hole. Because they were touring together a lot, and then they shared a bass player at one point.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No.
Yeah.
But that was the first concert
What-
that I paid to go see.
What was the first one that you didn't? Weird Al or Fred Penner?
It was the Beach Boys.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And it was great. Because, like, you could still, I mean, I know it's not the Beach Boys anymore. It's like Mike Love and a bunch of...
Yeah. Jesse from Full House.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he might have been with them when I saw them.
Cool.
Yeah, because he was like the drummer for the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And they were on Full House.
Yeah.
Hell of a cameo.
Yeah. But it was crazy because, like, that's just music that you know as a kid.
Yeah.
So it knew every song they were playing. It was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the best.
That's so funny how what was like at one point rebellious rock music just becomes like what you sing along to in kindergarten. Because I remember we sang along to Yellow Submarine, and it's like, that's a pretty psychedelic album that comes from.
But you could take a lot of the Beatles songs and convince somebody, like if you just took select songs and said these are children's entertainers, you would believe
Like
it.
Happiness is a Warm Gun. Totally.
Yeah.
Revolver. Yeah. Do you know what's I've been thinking about is like basically any musician that's beloved from that era has a criminal rap sheet that means we probably shouldn't like them.
Oh yeah,
like John Lennon was like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so disappointing, and it's so hard to figure out how to navigate that, especially publicly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like there's enough artists out there. It's weird, like it's like somebody at some point decided like we love these artists, and then you find out that they're scumbags.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of artists out there that aren't.
Yeah.
That that are like fine, good people, and it's like, well, just like those ones.
Yeah, you can just just like Kings of Leon instead. They're Christian brothers. Bring them home to grandma.
But there's so many artists that are that aren't. There's no complicated feelings with them. Like you're like they're good artists and they're decent.
But their merch isn't as cool.
Yeah.
Scumbags have the best merch. That's the title. We always try to figure out
the best merch.
We always try and figure out a title while we're doing the episode. Okay, one more question, Graham Clark.
Sure.
Have you ever had an experience with a ghost?
I think I have, but I don't. Well, I haven't had like firsthand, but people around me have had experiences.
Okay.
And my mom, who's a nurse.
Okay.
And
good person. Go on.
Yeah. She was with a family.
She probably has terrible merch.
Yeah, my mom's merch needs some work. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was with a family, and the matriarch of the family was in the hospital and passed away while she was at the family's house.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, the whole room smelled like the cigarettes that the mom smoked.
Whoa.
Just out of nowhere, everybody could smell cigarettes, and that was at the exact moment that she died. So, yeah, my mom has a lot of crazy stories like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't think I've ever had like a ghost encounter.
I've been asking this question on this show for a while now, and I'm starting to have a theory that men never see ghosts and women always see ghosts.
That's interesting.
Have you noticed that?
I don't think I've ever seen a ghost.
Well, you haven't, but maybe you have to be a comedian.
True.
But honestly, every time I've asked this and it's dudes, the answer is no. But my friend, then every female comic I've had on has one, a first-hand one.
Huh.
I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't have a first-hand one, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I'm open to it.
What do you think of that? Do you kind of believe in that?
I think there's such a gap between what we know and what we don't know that to write off anything completely is like, that's as dumb.
It's arrogant, isn't it?
It's arrogant.
Yeah.
And like the thing is who knows what the phenomena of a ghost is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be a million different things, but to say that it just never happened, that's kind of, it's very dismissive. And
yeah. I mean, it could be a Tupac hologram.
Yeah, it could be will.i.am talking about the election. Yeah.
That's a good way to wrap it up, I think. That was kind of a callback. Thanks, Graham.
Thanks for having me.
Every Monday at Havana, you have Laugh Gallery.
Yeah.
And what else? Is there anything else you want to... Oh, stop podcasting yourself. Yeah. The best comedy podcast in the country.
Wow, thank you very much.
It is. I really think that. I look up to you and Dave.
You've been a guest on it.
I have. Thank you so much for having me.
Check out Kevvy's episode.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what we laced into. Someone probably got it.
We talked a lot about how cool your tattoo is.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That was really fun. So check that out. You guys have such great guests.
Yeah, we're lucky. We get nice, funny, good guests.
Well, you're a very well-respected person, and thus concludes the Graham Clark Compliment Hour. Maybe that's the title.
Why does it have to end?
All right, thanks, Graham.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Comedy Here Often podcast. I've been your host, Kevvy. Thank you to Graham Clark for coming on, and make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll check in with you next week. Bye.